Hi, I would be talking about how mass communications um, was compared to Fred Rogers. Fred Rogers. My name is Ramon Alvarenga. So, uses of mass communication is simplicity used. So Fred Rogers understood the value of using simple words. They needed to be able to be understood by his audience, which was largely children. Although maybe um, was catching up to him in length of the show, um, Einstein said it, it so well. This is a quote from Fred Rogers that he used. If you can't explain to a 6-year-old, you don't understand it yourself. Fred Rogers lived by this. Another use of mass communication is pace. So one of the fundamentals when communicating is this pace of speech. Too fast and others don't understand what are you saying. Too slow and they lose interest. Fred Rogers was able to manage on his pacing, which allowed his audience to hear each of his words and make them want to listen more. So the way he would talk and his tone, though he wouldn't speak fast, so his audience would be able to actually understand and want to like see more of his show. And especially like I said, like younger people, kids, he would work a lot with kids. Um, they would have to understand what he would say. So his pace was a really like big part when in the show. Another one is focus. So whether he was talking about divorce or death of a pet, Fred Rogers had a focus on of what his message was about. He developed acts, songs, and the supporting characters, whether they were puppets or people, were all on the same with focus. He never lost it. So when I mean focus is he had that vision and he had that what he was going to talk about. And although it was pretty television and it was a skit, he had the focus because he was with real people, with real kids. And although it was through television, you can see that it was really happening. And that's something that really like impacted me in watching documentary that he had that, and you know, he never, no one ever took it away from him. The focus that he had, the communication laws, the different communication laws. I discovered it in how it was portrayed by television, was radio, the internet radio, newspaper, and I found that in chapter 6. Radio was some of the earliest electronic telecommunication in the United States. Regulated radio. It's still popular in the United States, but the way the media and things get is out by internet. Television was a huge part for society, and Mr. Rogers was a big role model for many children. He used this media to spread the love and respect all over the world. Um, so television was a really big part for many kids because it was a really um, educational program for many kids. Unlucky, unlucky I didn't live through that a lot. I remember I would see programs about him, um, but I didn't live through that era that it was big popular about Mr. Rogers and his neighborhood and how he would, you know, show that respect and love for children and that they're unique in this world. So so Fred Rogers was known as Mr. Rogers, um, was born on March 20th, 1928, and passed away February 27th, 2003, at the age of 74. He was an American television personality, musician, puppeteer, writer, producer, and Presbyterian minister. He was the creator and host of the preschool television series Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, which ran from 1968 through 2001. Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood was a show mainly for younger kids, but people of all ages loved watching the program. Like I said, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood was a program, um, and he was the host. And when he interacted with kids, he played with kids, and he just showed that love um, through kids for the people who would watch on television. So through the documentary "Won't You Be My Neighbor," what I liked about the documentary was that Fred Rogers, when seeing him testifying during the Senate hearings on public television and trying to save the $20 million to keep it alive. As well, he truly explains why it's a benefit for everyone and completely convinces the Senate. This uh the trial I keep seeing it, and it just shows how sincere and how um honest Mr. Rogers was, and how he wasn't only just trying to convince, but he was trying to explain how this program was a really big thing for society and how kids loved it him, of what he was doing. One line that I liked that Fred Rogers said, um, that day was that this is what I give. I give an expression of care every day to each child to help him realize that he is unique. And I end the program by saying, you've made this day a special day by just being yourself, being you. There's no person in the world, there's no person in the whole world like you, and I like you just the way you are. So he wouldn't care if you were from a different skin color, different nationality, different. He didn't care of what he cared of who you are, and no matter what outside or whatever was going on, he just cared that you were unique and you were a special person in this world, and that's something that really like impacted me as well. That he just had that love for anybody. It wasn't just for a specific person. So that's what I liked about the documentary, and I really learned a lot from the documentary and how his life was was special in the way that he gave that love to everyone. Yeah. So yeah, that's it of my presentation. Thanks for watching.